What is it?
Well, it's called Randomiser, and it's fitted to the guidance systems and operates under a very complex scientific principle called potluck. Now, no one knows where we're going. Not even the Black Guardian.
Not even us.
Hello and welcome to the Randomiser Podcast, episode 20.
Wow.
So, we are the Five Doctors now, is the start?
Yeah, we this episode, previous versions of ourselves are being taken out of time and space and dumped in a closet somewhere.
Although one of you is being played by a waxwork from Madame Tussauds.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's more animated than I am.
So, welcome along. We have got Doctor Who to talk about. So, spoilers for every episode of Doctor Who, up to and including Flux Chapter One, the Halloween Apocalypse. So, I'm going to lead off by saying that, broadly speaking, I absolutely loved it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, shite. No, I actually really did enjoy it. And it proves that I enjoyed it because I actually rewatched it 3 times technically. Well, I rewatched it twice technically. The first time I fell asleep, that was nothing to do with the episode itself. It's just that I haven't been feeling that great anyway.
Yeah.
But I watched it next morning to sort of try and get more of a handle on it. I suppose there was a few bits that sort of needed sort of sorting out in my head. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was quite fun. I love carbonista.
It's my favourite type of pasta.
I like bolognese. But there you go.
They're in next week's episode.
Oh,
it's
right.
The Sontaran.
Right. No. Next week's episode is the Sontarans versus the Crimeans.
The Crimeans, yes.
Apparently, David Legg was talking about this, that he'd seen a couple of people online talking about the Sontarans are fighting the Crimeans.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just people taking the piss or if that's a sad state of our education.
Given that Connor's subject is history, does this make Connor's blood boil?
Yes.
I think we could have a hot
You
take.
saw that little, you see that
vein.
little sort of temple starting to throb.
Note to self, exploit that. No, we had a party. We had our friends Davey and Izzy and Connor with us. There was a whole bunch of people, and we watched it through. I really struggled to hear, actually, so then we rewatched with subtitles, during which you fell asleep. But that was very helpful, and then we've both rewatched it separately since, haven't we?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, the sound was a little bit weird. I think it was okay after the pre-title bit. It seemed to level out a little bit better, but the pre-title sequence, sound-wise...
Well, something was screwy going into it. Came out of the ident, and the sound was... It was a black screen for a couple of seconds and very quiet.
It was loud you know, and then it suddenly went quite quiet.
I think something was screwed up technically. But I think generally in the mix, the loud scenes, I just couldn't hear the dialogue at all. And I'm not alone. I've heard other people say the same thing. So
it's ironic because normally, as you know, I put subtitles on with everything, but I turned them off just in case it was annoying other people. But I should have left them on.
But talking of subtitles, this is our first tangent of a tangential show. Our friend Davey pointed out a subtitling error, a glorious subtitling error in Talon's Wen Chang. So we fired it up on BritBox, and in the scene in episode 1 where Chang is doing his stage show, the ventriloquist dummy Mr. Sin, the line is, she is smoking pipe of poppy, or she's been smoking pipe of poppy. It becomes, she's been slugging type of toddy. Which is just glorious. I mean, it must be a mishearing, but it's
I don't know.
It makes perfect sense.
It sort of feels as if it's slightly deliberate as well.
But
like
what type of toddy?
Yeah, exactly. What type of toddy do you have? Delete as appropriate. But I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like someone's having a bit of fun.
Well, I've seen it on transcripts as well. There's a transcript site that I use to find sound clips, and that's got that version on it.
It's actually a line I've quoted so many times, it's just...
to the police.
I just remember sort of introducing some friends to Doctor Who when I was a lot younger, and I was like, love this bit.
Watch this one, it's the drug reference.
Smoking pipe bomb, poppy.
Oh my. So that was a delightful little sidetrack there with the subtitles. But yes, so back to Flux Chapter 1. So much going on. I mean, it's quite overwhelming on the first watch. I needed those extra watches, not just for hearing.
There was huge amount of stuff
Yeah.
going on. I mean, I suppose the only real criticism you can say is it does suffer from being episode 1 in terms of you're setting up loads of stuff without any actual proper payoff yet. But it's a 6-parter, so obviously, you know, the payoff's going to come down the line.
I hope so. Because I think
so do I.
well, the trick now is to keep the plate spinning, but also I think it just needs to narrow its focus episode by episode going forward. So, you know, if we're trying to sort of juggle all these many elements constantly throughout all 6 episodes, I think it's going to fall apart. But hopefully it'll be kind of, you know, now we'll go down, obviously Sontarans next week, battling the Crimeans and the Crimeans. Is that not Jamie's tribe, the Macrimeans?
Oh, Macrimean. Oh,
Anyway.
we'll get to Jamie.
Hold that thought, So what else about the episode? I've got a few random notes. Nadia Albina played Diane, and I worked with Nadia on Quiz, the stage show that I mentioned before, the show.
She was great.
Yeah,
actually.
great actor.
Really nice.
And when she entered in the museum, I thought, just the first glance, I clocked the name badge that she was wearing as if it was a stethoscope, and it definitely was reading it like Dan's escaped from somewhere. That's where my head went.
Isn't she RSC?
I believe so,
I think she's going to work in the RSC.
Chap I know through Twitter, Max Curtis, I always enjoy what he has to say about the show, and he had done a thread about how Dan is pretty superfluous, not in a nasty way at all, but just that there's not much about him for an introduction, and I thought that the one corollary to that was I think there might be more to come, because I think Dan's friend at the end being menaced by Azure, that can't. I hope that can't be coincidence.
Yeah, it does seem a bit strange. It's also a very strange place to arrange a date. Or
It's outside
not
the
a
spooky
date.
house.
Outside the spooky house, but it is Halloween.
It's a great spooky house.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
That suggests to me that there's maybe more to Dan than meets the eye, whether or not he knows it. I mean, there's this whole sort of theme in the whole Division stuff about people who don't know that they're Time Lords or Division people, so it could go that way, but
I suppose.
who knows? I don't know if this is a new section, but I wrote down terrible lines and lovely lines. But I thought the Four Bears joke was awful. It's like, you know, it's like, don't insult my forebears, you don't look anything like forebears. I mean, who would say that? But much overbalanced by lovely lines. I loved... Maybe I was Scottish when I set this up about the handcuffs.
That was quite good.
And then, again, that's one of the lines I couldn't hear at the time, but you can just about perceive Jodie's Scottish accent when she tries it again.
I also liked the bit, you know, like she was obviously trying to get the cuffs to release, and then they finally...
Oh, they land.
You know, and then, that's a relief in the cuff.
Yes, I like that one too.
I did actually notice that the humour was a bit more on point this episode
It's quite
than
sharp.
it has been.
I loved Man's Best Friend.
Yeah, I
Nice
thought
one.
that
And I
was
also,
good.
I just loved it's so doctory. It's like synchronized watches. No, hang on, I'm not wearing a watch. I totally loved that.
One thing I did find a bit confusing, I was trying to work out why the fuck there was a double mattress on the floor on the floor of the console.
And a trampoline. Yeah. Well, maybe exactly for this occasion.
But it did seem a bit... Really?
It's like, people were shipping Yaz and the Doctor, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it was bizarre, but
Yeah.
it was interesting that it's like, you know, what this thing about is the TARDIS dying with the goop and everything.
the goop is weird.
Also, with the doors being in different places, it's as if it's reconfiguring itself and
There's
trying to...
something there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's definitely something weird going on, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. So.
Yeah. Well, the graphic, as has been pointed out, is the stripes that, you know, they use in a lot of the graphics are unravelling and fraying at the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So there's definitely this theme of things coming apart.
Yeah.
So it's also good fun. I wrote down that
And of course, the universe is literally coming apart. By the looks of things,
I mean,
so-
God, it's a hard cliffhanger to top for the rest of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
But,
it is a little bit.
yeah. I wrote down the swarm scene where the old swarm regenerates or renews and then kills the division guards. That was horrific, but in the best way.
Oh, I mean, it was good effects as well. That going back slightly, talking about effects, I thought the effects throughout the episode were top notch. I've seen a lot of criticism online, and I'm thinking, you know, you're watching Doctor Who for a start. But I thought the effects were great, but the pre-title sequence effects
A bit less so.
were Yeah, they just seemed like a different... It was as if it was a different show.
But they had a sort of green sky, and actually in some of the close-ups you could almost just have been looking at the green screen behind them, which is interesting.
I mean, I'm not moaning.
No, I didn't notice it the first time.
I just thought it was weird, you know, especially like, they've obviously spent money on it, you know, they put the money on screen. And I like that. I thought it was good fun. That's what I really took from it. It was good fun.
Yes.
Ticks that box. Yaz was good. Yaz and the Doctor had obviously been travelling for a while, which is a bit of a shame. Finish. Yeah. It's a bit of a shame because I would have liked to have seen their relationship, you know, develop. I don't mean anything wrong with Dan, it's just it was nice, you know.
To give them some quality
time. But it was nice, they spent a lot of time together, there was a lot of fun dialogue, and Yaz is obviously and the Doctor have gelled very well, which is good.
I thought it was so nice to see Yaz with a bit more to do, and calling the Doctor out on being all secretive.
Yes.
Which was good.
Absolutely.
Good character. Though I do think, we talked about it a bit, that seemed a bit manufactured, because I'm not sure why the Doctor wouldn't just tell Yaz about the mission or the sort of...
Doctor's always a bit secretive sometimes, but I totally agree. There's no real reason for her to, you know...
Yeah, it gives them conflict, and that seems to be the only reason. Although it is sort of traumatic, and childhood traumatic as well, for that matter, I suppose, all the timeless child division stuff. So it'd just be good to get a bit more of that coming through, and maybe we will.
I think we I mean, I would imagine, obviously, it's going to be top-heavy on the likes of Division and stuff. As for the Flux, I mean, it's essentially like entropy. You know,
pretty fast
the universe, very fast entropy, but I'm sure that there's a reason it must be activated in some way, and so.
Well, as things stand, we have lost Neptune and presumably most of the rest of the solar system.
Yeah.
With Earth being surrounded by ships. Talking of ships, the party must have a lot of cash to spare if they can just knock up 7 billion.
I mean, seriously, their planetary economy.
I have a theory.
Oh, right, go on.
So
then.
I think they are the sinister force behind Crufts.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, right, this thing is eating the universe. So, what the fuck are their ships made of?
I know. The flux-proof ship. Well, it seems like the obvious avenue to pursue now is, okay, if these can withstand the flux, then... But yeah, I don't know. What else? I've got a load of random notes. Oh, here's an oddity. This is maybe not quite on the scale of the Phantom Hand from Can You Hear Me, but Dan's house, number 37, is established in text, and you see the door number. And just when I was looking back on it again, the house on the left, next door to it, is number 49. What is going on there? The Phantom Hand all over again. It's maybe just a production error, but it just struck me as odd.
I did like the bit where the house disappeared and the bloke's on the toilet.
Yes, that was funny.
That was quite good.
There's a terribly mundane explanation, which I suppose is that they've scripted it as 37. They've got dialogue with it being 37, and they've got a prop letter on the fridge that Yaz sees that says it's 37. Then they come to shoot it, and blow me if the house next door isn't 49, but they don't have permission to change it. They'd have to CG'd it, but I suppose. Anyway, we may never care.
Yes, I'm sure. I mean, if it ends up being a massive plot point, then that's... a hell of an attention AD.
Well, you know, we talk about the missing days of Faction Paradox. Maybe the 10 houses in between are where they live.
It could be. Yeah.
Who knows? With Weeping Angels and Keys stumbling at the door scene was pretty scary.
I mean, that was good.
If ever there was an advert for AirTags.
Yeah, but I mean, she dropped her keys. She knew where they were. What's she got to do?
Hold on.
Get her phone out, look at the phone, and just tell the Weeping Angel to hang on a minute.
Yeah. I don't know. If she obviously knew who the Weeping Angels were, so I would have carried a bottle of eye drops.
See, no, I mean, just hold one eye open, that's basically the way. But the thing is, that was one of the ones that confused me a little, because she comes running up to the Doctor, saying, oh, it's you, blah, 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 and then she knows who the Weeping Angels are, and... to me, it sort of felt like she was going to see herself as a child being taken back in time. That's why
she'd lived back to the present day.
And that's how she'd met the Doctor. But she's actually been taken by the Weeping Angel, but she's already met the Doctor
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Unless it's happening twice, which is just very unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really fucking unlucky.
I saw a theory, which I don't really credit, but it's very interesting. Somebody, and I'm not sure how tongue-in-cheek they were, but they said, this is the next Doctor, and that's why there's that line about taking the long way home, because they mean the TARDIS. And I'm like, could they have cast it in time to shoot that? It's pretty spurious, I think. But that line is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That long way home line. So that's resonant right back to Girl in the Fireplace. And
Yeah, but it is one of those lines that's been used a lot now, rather than just specific to one thing.
it rings of insider knowledge.
Oh, there's
time
definitely
travel.
something I don't know, so it could well be the case.
Let's
But
see. I mean,
it
like I
seems
say, I don't really
unlikely.
credit it.
I mean, this is the beauty of when you've got new Doctor Who, the speculation. I mean, to me,
So
there's
much.
a lot of this. It's like you said about the threads
Uh-huh.
unraveling.
And fandom's job is to knot them all back together.
Yeah, but I mean, there really does seem to be evidence gathering of some sort of maybe alternate universe thing or something. You know, like when you look at the Master, for example, no progression from where Missy was. and
Oh, the
things.
idea that
Yeah.
Sasha Dewan's master might have been pre-Missy. Or,
Yeah, or
I don't know.
you know,
I think
and-
too much of that leans into the really. I find it completely obnoxious. The wish that this era would somehow be tucked away in a fold somewhere.
No, I get that.
Not on your
but-
part, on the part of other people.
Yeah, I get that. It's just that there's so many little things that you just think,
Chibs has ruled it out though, hasn't he?
I don't.
We're pals now. I'm calling him Chibs. I obviously only
Chibs.
call him Chibnall when I'm across with him.
There was something about that, but I just don't know. It just seems bizarre, you know,
Time will tell.
the whole thing. But hopefully we'll get some sort of explanation.
Yeah.
And
Well, there's a lot of plates spinning
Yeah.
away now, and
Yeah.
a lot of things to land carefully, hopefully.
I mean, one of the nice things was the guy at the start, you know, in 1820, 1820, building the tunnels. Those tunnels exist under Liverpool,
Yeah, I
and
wasn't
nobody
even-
actually knows the reason for them. So
they
that's
will in 5
kinda,
weeks' time.
You know,
Did you notice when they had the little recap of all the spinning plates at the end that there seemed to be a kind of explosion of dust going on out of the tunnel behind him?
oh right.
I thought. I might have to look at that again.
I didn't actually.
Well, like, do you know the thing he's kind of alluding to that's about
Yeah.
to come and happen is, I wonder if that's a little glimpse of some sort of disaster.
I do question as to why he's getting funding if he's not, if he can't even give a reason for it.
It's got a lot of personal wealth. No, my other theory is that the flux is actually his sideburns that have mutated over 200 years
Yes,
and are now
I
swallowing
remember.
the universe.
That's always possible.
What else? I loved the music, although I was only really aware of it in my rewatch. But that's how I like it, not overwhelming or being
See,
silly, but supporting it.
I don't agree with you on the music, but there's a difference in terms of the way I look at Doctor Who music. When it's something you can recognise or something that you will, you know, like the Doctor's theme or whatever. This is why we had things like Doctor Who Proms, because it's so recognisable and it's popular. I know you don't like Murray Gold's music, but
By and large, I'm okay with it.
yeah,
It's just
but
occasionally
because
it's in
it's
front.
yeah, but I think that's what adds to the popularity of it.
Well, sure, but
And
that's
that's
external
why-
to the program.
No, I know
The
that.
primary job of the music has got to be to make the program flow.
I do agree, but it's also a good way of marketing and a good way of promoting the
Yeah,
program.
but that's always
Those
got to be a
Doctor Who-
secondary consideration. Always.
I suppose. I've got absolutely nothing against the music at the moment. I really like the theme. I love the bass. It's wonderful. But what I would say is I can't remember a single piece of music.
If you watch that again, look at the quieter scenes, and the music's just sort of ticking away underneath,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
a lovely job setting atmosphere.
I've got absolutely nothing against it. It's just that I sometimes miss. You know, I love those themes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, a couple more thoughts. I am excited for more about the division, and I'm interested in the parallels between Swarm's sister's setup and Ruth's. Because how
Yeah.
come she gets the cosy flat in the Arctic while her brother's chained to a rock for all of time?
Yeah, no, it's
What's going on there?
Do you know what? I don't know why, right? But do you remember a comic strip in DWM where the Doctor, Tom Baker's Doctor, met Prometheus, the Lifebringer, and he was chained to a rock?
Well, that was the myth of Prometheus.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it. No.
And I always remember I pronounced it at the time Prometheus. But when I saw him chained to the whatever, I kept thinking of that.
But the sentence was that he was chained to a rock, and every day an eagle maybe would eat his liver, and it would grow back overnight. So it's eternal torment sort of thing.
And regeneration.
My last and only other thought is swarm's not an acronym then.
Nope, doesn't seem like it.
Although the sort of falling apart into lots of little bits, sort of collective entity. You know, we talked about Colony Sarth, didn't we? So maybe it still is an acronym. Who knows?
Well, you never know. I mean, we're still to meet the Ravagers, apparently.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of thought that what turned out to be Swarm was the Ravagers and all the publicity.
I watched the YouTube video, and it was, you know, the bit where she does that whole the Ravagers, blah blah blah, blah, you know, got in and the little Flux video,
the trailer.
Trailer, yeah. It's slightly extended. It's showing you her filming it, right?
Oh, right.
So it's got like a ring light, and it's in the TARDIS, and it's been filmed on a mobile phone. Just as the video is ending, you hear Yaz going, "Doctor, you've got to change your clothes." I swear, I will show you later.
Okay.
And it's fucking bizarre. Now I'm wondering if
Is that out of character, do you think?
if it's Mandip Gill going, you know,
Come on, Jodie.
"Come on, Jodie, you stink," or whatever. You know?
It's like the inverse of when Mark Hamill inadvertently calls out Carrie when he's coming out of the typhoid. The
I don't know. I mean, as I say, it just made me.
Maybe that's what the Ravages are. They're like clothing mites.
Jodie's not changed her outfit at all.
Still in their cupboard.
Maybe that's why companions leave.
That's like Tegan.
Sorry.
Smith. I can't take it anymore. It's the smell.
Sorry, the smell's just got to me. It's stopped being fun, Doctor.
So lovely. I'm excited for Chapter 2.
Yeah, War of the Sunterns.
War of the Sunterns. Yeah.
Oh, we never mentioned the Sunterns.
Oh yes, no. I did notice a detail that he seemed to have. One of them seemed to have 3 little Suntern ships in his collar, like insignia.
Oh, right.
They were the same little pattern.
It's like pips, you know. Like,
Well, either that or they're like miniaturized emergency
or
ships.
maybe that's he's killed 3 ships, or he's commanded.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the prosthetics and everything, they look very good.
Except they've got beautifully dirty top teeth, but when you get a glimpse of his bottom set of teeth, they're pearly white.
Fucking weird.
It's probably all that tongue action keeps them clean.
Connor did say to me when we were watching it, he said afterwards, he said, I just, when I was watching that, he said, I bet you hated it. Mainly, you know, what they were sort of jokey.
Well, that was it. It was tonally funny.
Come on.
Especially in the grounds we've been talking
You know.
about are they still going to be comic relief?
You know, I think that's just a bit of banter maybe between them. But it was, I think the bit that got me was when the other one started going, his tongue. And I was like, for fuck's sake, please, no.
I mean, it's definitely alluding back to the initial reveal of Lawrence all those years ago. Anything more to say about Flux Chapter 1?
I'm sure there is something. I like Bring Back My Human.
Yeah.
That was really fun. That actor is the one that appeared in Revolution. You know, at the end when it.
Oh, was it with Dan?
Yeah, he was Dan's workmate or something.
Do you think this could be the secret behind Dan?
I suppose it
Maybe
could
he
be.
turns his friends into
Maybe
dogs.
that's the thing. You know, it's like he's paired, obviously he's there to protect Dan.
Sort of in Zygon shape-changing form.
Or it could just be the case that, you know, we've got you for doing Flux, so, you know, why don't you
Get a
do
trailer
this
in.
little bit?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as I say, Doctor Who fans reading things.
I've got more mountains to make out of all these molehills.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
No, I loved it. Very excited for Chapter
Yeah.
2. And it was just big tick in the fun box.
Yeah, I was just relieved. I do remember making a joke somewhere saying, God, can you imagine if it's not shit?
Here's your humble pie. Eat up.
A man is the sum of his memories, a Time Lord even more so.
So it is time for your Cheatin Memory. And this is the part of the show where we randomly select an episode and then discuss what we remember of it and then go away and rewatch it or re-experience it, because the last time, to my delight and Chaz's undelight, we picked Highlanders. So, Patrick Troughton's second story, but no episodes remain. However, we did think, 6 episodes, but it's only 4. I think we quite enjoyed it, didn't we?
We did. If I'm wrong or whatever, I'm quite happy to admit it. It was good fun. Having said that, I would never voluntarily watch anything with Telesnaps, and if it gets animated, I'll be more than happy to watch it, but I will never revisit it unless it's animated or found.
I've seen all of the Telesnap episodes in my original watch through, which started some time ago. Therefore, there's quite a few of the animations I haven't seen, because I'd sort of ticked those off the list already, and so at some point I'll go back to those. And that'll be fun.
That's fair enough.
But the Highlanders, mostly, I thought, quite rompy in tone.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I'd never really... I knew... had, a rough idea of it, but didn't really sort of have a lot of experience with it. What I would say is, I did think Dennis Spooner had written it at one point, because it did seem like a sort of comedy historical in the vein of the sort of thing Dennis Spooner tends to do.
We got the Doctor's silly German accent, Dr. Von
It's fucking hilarious.
You've got a second attempt at the "I would like a hat like that" joke.
Oh, God, I know.
The double act of Gray and Perkins, with Perkins always having to take people off.
Yeah.
The Doctor fooling Gray and Perkins and then banging Perkins' head off the desk and saying, "Have you got a headache?" And Polly and Kirsty.
Yeah, for me, Polly was sort of stand out because she was fantastic in this. She was so proactive, but she was very funny, but she was also bloody brutal.
She's like bullying Kirsty.
With Kirsty and that poor fucking redcoat.
Finch.
Yeah.
I mean, she makes a big play out of his name, taking the piss.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing, right? Now, that character, really, that's a character that's invented to be despised. And the actor makes him very likeable. Yeah. I really like him.
But the ends are quite...
I think the guy's actually had a bit of a rough deal. Yes. I don't think he wants to be a redcoat to begin with.
He's going to return to an attic and write poetry for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sensitive soul. Kirsty and Polly flirt with him. Polly threatens him. Yeah. It's like the poor guy's doesn't stand a bloody chance.
It's all very enjoyable, all that stuff. There are darker touches. I mean, you've got the last comedy act is the irate pirate on the slave ship. He's like straight out of Treasure Island.
He wants to be in something else, doesn't he? He wants his own show. Well, that's like what he's going for.
We've got a show called The Highlanders. It's the last historical until Black Orchid. Yeah. And you'd think it would be all Scots way, but it's actually, he wants it to be Treasure Island. And it's going to be a pirate show or death.
I have expected the Black Spot to turn up, or him with a parrot or something.
So yo-ho-ho, don't we say that?
He was very good. I think most of the characters actually stand up quite well.
Well, Gray's nicely...
he's slimily evil, and his whole shtick is to basically sell Jamie, the Doctor, etc. into slavery.
Yeah, so it's sort of the casualness of the killings, the hangings, and the corruption of the English soldiers, taking a bribe here and there, and all of this. Jamie, it's not a huge amount actually going on for him in the first story.
He is very likeable. You would have maybe thought that Kirsty or the Lieutenant Finch might have actually made it to companion status.
Well, I don't know about Finch, but certainly see that with Kirsty. He's got a lot more to do.
But I mean, Jamie's very likeable, and obviously Fraser Hines is great and was a fantastic choice for companion anyway. But
at least until Hamish Watson came into the role and fulfilled his promise.
Of course.
No, he's shown he's very shrewd straight from the beginning. He's got this early line about observing how the prince was the first to leave the battlefield and stuff like that.
He's intelligent for his time, I mean, he may not be educated, but that doesn't prevent him from, having intelligence, as it were.
No, and a great job again with what material there is available from the loose cannon people.
Yeah.
Still images with subtitles for.
I know. I do admire what they do. It's not something I would watch, mainly because it is quite difficult to sort of concentrate on. It's easier when you're there, because
I have that sharp stick that I caught whenever you nod off.
I've got fucking bruises everywhere. But it does prove one thing to me, that I watched that and I could honestly say it wasn't a terrible experience and I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
And it also proves how shit the Space Pirates was.
Because you had struggled with that.
Because that had a fucking episode existed and
that
it
was
was
6 parts,
still
wasn't
awful.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, well, let's choose another and see if we
God.
get something that exists.
Look, when I give the word, press the button. The big one? Yes, maybe it works in conjunction with the others.
Please let us have something. Because honestly, I'm going to commit myself to rehab or something.
Here we go.
All right, well, let's try and find out. Now, what could it be?
The Leisure Hive. I'm quite excited with that.
Yeah, that is interesting, actually, because that's the start of season 18.
It is, the new titles and all that.
Yeah, and
Brighton Beach.
yeah,
K9.
and the shitty costume, as referred to by Tom Baker.
Oh, really? Oh, that was Tom
I
fully
think when he done
strong.
Dimensions in Time, he had to wear that, and he went, "Oh, that's the shitty one."
Oh dear.
But,
So it wasn't a strop at the time, was it?
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's just.
No,
but,
it's one I've only seen maybe only once. I don't remember if
yeah.
I saw it on broadcast. I might have.
That's the villain of the
The
Formazi.
Fumazi, anagram of mafiosi.
Mafioso. Yeah, and K9, they get rid of K9 pretty quick. You know, little ward in a Victorian bathing outfit shouting K9 as K9 fetches a ball that gets thrown into the sea.
Okay, yeah.
So K9's intelligence has obviously dropped a bit of a magnitude on that one.
It's just very obedient if you say
Yeah,
fetch.
well, that's true. That's true. Maybe they couldn't afford John Levine. He was probably got his agent to up his fee or something.
Do you mean John Leeson?
God,
Come on, you've got to get a famous John if you're going to get one.
Jesus.
No disrespect to John Levine. This is like
I
Benton.
don't know.
So yeah, Leisure Hive.
Yeah, it's good.
Unless it's a different sort of era for us.
Yeah.
For the
And we
Randomiser.
got Tom Baker in a sort of old man beard thing.
It's now a good time to tell you I was lying all along and it's Dalek's master plan.
Tim, if it was Dalek's master plan, trust me, I'd be out the fucking... Even though this is my house, I would go and live on the streets rather than sit and watch that.
Oh, I thought I'd reformed you, but there's work to do yet. Great. Leisure Hive coming up.
Hey.
I don't have a sonic screwdriver because I'm not off on a romp. I call it what it is.
A great loss of pomp and circumstance.
It is time for Romp or Pomp. So while we have the randomizer all fired up, we're going to click through a few more random stories and just have a quick hot take on whether they're a fun-filled romp or a more serious kind of pomp and circumstance kind of affair. So here we go. The Mythmakers. It's a romp, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the episode titles.
Comedy historical one.
Small Profit, Quick Return, that's one of them.
Oh,
And they were going to do Is
great.
There a Doctor in the Horse, which I
Yeah.
love. Love a pun. But yeah, it's again historical with a lot of comedy touches. Although
Who
again,
wrote it?
quite brutal at the end.
Who wrote it?
That was Donald Cotton, wasn't it?
Oh, right.
Let's do another. The Happiness Patrol.
Oh.
It's sort of moody but fun. It's not a romp as such. but
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot more serious than,
yeah, good
than
atmosphere and that
its
speech.
candy coating.
Yes, it gets definitely the rompometer ticks up a bit when the Candyman appears. Here we
I
go.
love the Candyman.
Okay, it's a triple. It's the Utopia Sound of Drums, The Last of the Time Lords.
Oh.
So it's all quite highfalutin, isn't it?
I'd say
Bit
pomp.
pomp.
Yeah. But, you know, it's damn good.
Any sort of finale has got to have a bit of gravitas.
Yeah.
Marco Polo. That's quite pomp and circumstance, I think. Again, I've listened through the reconstructions
It's
of it.
one I'd love to watch, not, you know,
Okay.
not
Damn.
Telesnap. No, I'd actually really like to see that on
VHS.
VHS.
Let's do a couple more. Horror Fang Rock.
Oh, I love horror.
It's definitely
Fang Rock.
pomp, though. Atmosphere. And lastly, Destiny of the Daleks.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's not really a romp, is it?
No, I suppose it's a little. I mean, we do have suicide bomber Daleks in it. I mean,
that's always
that's quite a way to go. But there is influences. Douglas Adams. There's a lot of humour in this one,
and
as
of course,
well.
infamously, Spack Off. I love it.
Fantastic.
So here's your challenge.
It is challenge time. So I have asked Chaz repeatedly to watch The Mutants, and it's a sort of challenge because he's never managed to sit through it before, and then I'll get a challenge of my own eventually when he's seen it. So with my hopes held high, have you managed to watch it?
Technically, yeah.
Technically.
Well, you owe me about 150 quid.
I didn't agree to pay you.
No, in vet's bills.
What?
Well, you see, our third host of this podcast, as you know, Limmy, my dog, and he has a bit of a sort of, say, passion for Doctor Who, and so I basically gave him some treats and said, you watch your Mutants for me and come back to me and, you know, give me the SP on it.
Where does the 150 quid come in?
Well, we're getting there. And he went, and I said, okay. So, yeah, it's a sort of Chewbacca type thing. Right? You know, I put it on and I hastily exited the house. And, yeah, I came back and he was looking awful. And I said, what's wrong there?
They didn't have any of this when he actually ate the DVD.
He basically said that he started watching it and then he felt a little bit sick and then he was depressed. So I had to get the vet psychologist to go over it with him, and it had to, you know, it traumatised my dog.
Well, even if he'd made it through unscathed, I think the dog watched my homework is a definite new low in terms of excuses. So next week?
Well, maybe, but, you know...
You could buy a hamster to watch it for you or something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll return to this tale of animal cruelty in the future.
In my box are such delights.
We haven't had a chance to watch all of Mr. Benn, which we selected last time, and given that we're trying to keep up with Flux going on, we're going to just sort of space out a few Mr. Benns here and there. We've watched 3 episodes, was it, of Mr. Benn?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I, to be honest, I think it's canon. I think it's Doctor Who, because it's a magic door that leads to adventures, silly costumes. The shopkeeper wears a fez and a bow tie. It's Matt Bloody Smith.
Yeah. I think his face is all over the place. Is probably
that's a sort of mid-regeneration story.
Yep.
One thing you pointed out was that there's a foreshadowing of each adventure in the street at the start of the episode, which is a nice touch, I thought. It's terribly charming, Mr. Benn. It's from our childhood. It's delightful, and I do remember it very fondly from when I was young. I also remember a colleague at college who had a Mr. Benn t-shirt.
I always wanted a Mr. Benn t-shirt.
Doesn't John Isles have one? Let us know, John, if you do. No, it's just really sweet. Ray Brooks does the narration. In between dodging Daleks in London.
Dodging Daleks in London and high-stakes poker games.
What was that?
Big deal.
I remember that.
Yeah, with Sharon Juice, who played...
was in Ghostlight.
Yeah,
there we go. Has Ray Brooks ever been in Doctor Who proper, as it were?
No. He's only ever done the movie.
Yeah.
I do like Ray Brooks. I always thought he was a very personable actor, you know. So.
What else did we notice? I think the animation style is very charming, but they seem to have a problem with legs.
They really do, don't they?
The walking's always quite unrealistic.
You notice that most of the time they will find some way of hiding the legs.
There'll be a big tall hedge that they're walking along behind.
Yeah.
I think it's quite ingenious.
But I do like the animation style. I do like the look of it, the plain artwork and everything. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, but as with most children's programmes of that time, it's straightforward, simple and sort of to the point. It has a sort of a timeless charm to it.
But no, we've got more episodes of Mr. Benn to watch, so I don't know if there'll be much more to say about it. Mr. Benn will return in Live or Let Die.
All these corridors look the same to me.
I actually watched Android Zatara. It's lovely. It's a charming episode. I'd forgotten about the swords being charged and everything, and Tom Baker's having a great time. Mary Tam's so on point with this one. Her costume is delightful.
It's really the purple one, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful costume. And you've got a real scenery chewing villain in Grendel.
It's going to watch his teeth because it's all set in a castle, so it's gonna break them.
All the characters in it are really nice. Although the one character I noticed that, and I was surprised you hadn't mentioned, is Grendel's manservant, who's tugging a forelock. He's hilarious.
Straight out of a Hammer film, wasn't
he? I mean, I can imagine that Tom Baker and him got on like house on fire. You could just see it, you know.
I never understood that phrase. I'm sure somebody's done this joke, but you say getting on like a house on fire, and it just means there's no survivors.
That's true.
Who have I stolen that joke from? Well, if you can speed up a bit as you chase me through the corridor, you can watch Power of Crawl. So I'm 3 episodes in, so we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
There's a monster on the loose in the woods outside your house. No, there isn't.
It is time for Monster by Monster. So we're going to select a few monsters at random from a list of monsters and aliens, actually, from the BBC website, and we'll just say things about them. Okay, 18. So that is the Celestial Toymaker.
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste?
Yeah, you said we'll say things. Toothpaste. There you go.
Okay, let's try word disassociation. Hat stand.
Frontiers.
No, there's a link there.
Yeah. Celestial Toymaker. One of my favourite villains. It's always been a villain that fascinated me. I do remember, I'm trying not to be negative about Chibs or whatever, but I do remember when he said about, dumping the Christmas specials, that they've run out of ideas for Christmas stories. And I thought, the toy maker is making gifts or something and stealing children to work as slaves in his dimension or something.
Yeah.
As a sort of off-the-cuff Christmas story.
Write that fanfic down and send it into Big Finish, you never know.
Yeah, there'll be a gap somewhere.
Yeah. But they did do Nightmare Fair, didn't they?
Yes.
Let's move on to another one. Oh, 20. I'm just hopping forward a little bit. So that is the War Machines.
Right. Those, yeah.
Well, I have a thing that belonged to my grandfather, which is a slide viewer for old 35mm slides. It's basically a sort of boxy, slightly trapezoid box with a screen on the front. You put the slides in, and there's a little light bulb, and it magnifies them up a bit for you. And it says on it, Wotan.
No.
It does.
Really?
Yeah, and so I've always kind of associated that, knowing the name Wotan from reading Doctor Who books when I was a kid. So I have no idea if it could have in any way influenced this, but it is a similar shape to the War Machine prop as well. But, that was Doctor Who's return to contemporary London. It was the introduction of Ben and Polly.
It's a story I absolutely adore. It's very much a First Doctor unit story in style, as it were.
There's the sort of parallels to the Daleks as well, with scenes of the War Machines in contemporary London.
I mean, okay, the War Machines are a bit of a bulky, ridiculous design in the sense.
They don't have the charm or the kind of arresting oddness of the Daleks.
It's like the story itself in Wotan. It's great.
Yeah.
Wotan is very similar to Boss in the Green Death.
Has anybody done a War Machine toy? Like
I'd love one.
241. Like the other end of time. The Solitract. Now this is Jodie.
Fuck are they?
Is it the frog? It's after the Flesh Moth, which was in It Takes You Away. It's the frog.
Jesus.
It's like not a memorable name.
I don't really know what I've got to say about it that can be broadcast.
I think we did cover this in the past when we watched It Takes You Away again.
Yeah, I remember having to.
It was just odd. And a shame, because you had such a good idea about seeing Grandma 5. Yeah. More of an alien universe than a monster, but certainly a strange one. And
it's a bizarre one, but
only
whatever.
Doctor Who, really.
Yeah.
Let's do one more. 238. So we stay new series. 238 is Morax.
Is that the witch thing?
So the Morax is an alien species from Witchfinders.
Right. So it was the ones that turned them to mud or whatever. Reanimate the corpses.
Yeah. I think it's a great look.
The Witchfinders is one that I actually don't mind as much.
I haven't watched it again, actually.
Oh, right.
Well, that was Monster by Monster. More next time.
Woohoo.
Could it have been affected by tangential deviation coming out of the warp ellipse?
What are you talking about, Grease Stain?
Tangent time. We've only had time to watch part of season 12 of Red Dwarf. We'll talk about what we have watched and come back to the rest of it. It's nice to eke it out anyway, because this is the last.
This is our final fling.
So
the boys from the Dwarf.
We're on season 12, and we've watched the first 4 episodes, so I'll just read through the titles. We've watched Cured, Siliconia, Time Wave, and Mechocracy. But Cured, they discover a research centre where they meet copies of famous evil historical figures, and it contains my favourite line of the season so far, which is, "It's because I'm Hitler, isn't it?"
Hitler and Lister jamming.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, it's decent. I think you mentioned that Stalin doesn't get much to do at all, which is a shame.
It's a bit of a shame.
I've never felt sorry for Stalin before, but
hey,
yeah,
don't diss Uncle Joe. Connor's a big fan.
Right, okay. God, there's slander for you. Well, at least I'll get Connor to write in next time and put the record straight.
No, trust me, he's a big fan.
Really? I've got all your war diaries. As it Rimmer says to Napoleon.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from slightly underusing the evil characters, I think it's a pretty nice episode. Siliconia is where they all get turned into mechanoids. I think that was the weakest one for quite a while.
Yeah, it's okay so far anyway this season. There's nothing I would say is rubbish, but yeah, I would agree that's definitely the weakest one.
It doesn't do much with the MILF joke, which is very funny the first time you hear it.
But it sort
doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it sort of pins itself too much around the rest of them being mechanoids, and there's sort of thin jokes about support groups and the latest technology. I don't know, I don't want to damn it because I didn't hate it, it's just that thing of I think the quality's been higher. Time Wave, again, it's another really interesting idea and thinly veiled social commentary in that kind of if you're unable to criticise then it all goes to shit.
Oh, yeah.
But this has Johnny Vegas, who I'm not a big fan of, but I did enjoy it when he started to get off on learning to criticise again.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Johnny Vegas. I just love his sort of, when he just destroys himself, as it were, There was a lot in this that I liked. It
feels like there were maybe better jokes to be had from that concept. And
in some ways it feels like punching down a little.
I quite like the captain in his weird outfit, and it did remind us both of the outfit of the performance artist Vulva in Spaced. He was played by David Walliams. A total tangent, but I love Spaced, and that moment, because I work in the theatre, you recognise that moment where he sort of leans over and everybody sort of tentatively claps, and then he goes, it's not finished. It's finished.
I love the way that when Daisy's watching it, suddenly it's do. I keep using that thing, and my mind just goes to the magic roundabout.
Maybe we should do Spaced after Red Dwarf.
I was going to say, it's interesting that we haven't put Spaced into Box Deluxe.
It's not too late, it has a slot. Yeah, good. Well, when we run out in 45 years' time, we can add it in. But then we'll have had Spaced the Next Generation as well. So, one more to talk about with Red Dwarf. Mechocracy, which is the 4th episode. This is the one that's only set on the ship, and it's got the vending machines as guest caster and nobody else.
Oh, yes.
Which is a lot stronger.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious the 2 good ones is the first one and that, but I think that one edges for me being the stronger one.
The political satire is kind of quite fun, but the crowning moment of the whole episode, the return of Talkie Toaster.
Talkie Toaster.
You've forgotten already.
I'd forgotten.
I had forgotten as well, even though I'd seen it before. And we were watching the election debate scene, and I was like, you know what? They should have got the toaster to ask the questions, because we all know what questions it would ask.
Yeah, and then suddenly the toaster appears.
Yeah, as if summoned.
I remember saying that I was really pleased in recent years they brought back things like the snack machines, the scutters.
Yeah.
Because I always really liked that thing in Red Dwarf, the snack machines and their personality.
There's a direct line from that to like Marvin and the lift with the personality in the chapter's picks as well.
Please enjoy your day on this planet.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's good fun, that one. So we've got 2 more to go in season 12, and we'll get to them in due course.
And then, of course, the Promised Land.
Yeah. And then are we going to do the AA advert? Really? I'd be desperate for
What's
more.
the bloody point?
You haven't seen it, have you?
I've seen it.
Have you? Right, yeah. It's better than Siliconia. Thank you for listening.
Put it this way, I'll watch that before I watch the fucking Mutants.
What?
You
said you'd do it next week.
Sorry. Fourth wall.
I'm starting to think you're never going to watch the Mutants.
You never heard that.
Alright, as I wipe my face down.
Yeah, that's me turning back time.
Okay, you and Cher should talk.
It's the end.
but the moment has been prepared for.
9 times out of 10.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in touch or if you've had an odd experience in a fancy dress shop, we can be contacted by email at randomiserpodcast@gmail.com. You can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/randomiser or follow us on Twitter at randomiserpod. And in all cases, that's randomiser with an S, not
a Q. You're basically taking fucking more away from me now. It's not finished. It's finished.